Special Counsel Jack Smith inching closer to another indictment, this one out of D.C. Many people speculating it could be coming any minute now. And one of the reasons why is because we get new leaks that Jared Kushner is somebody who also appeared before the special counsel's grand jury. And there's a lot of reaction to this because he is a family member of Donald Trump. He's married to Ivanka Trump, and they were very close in Donald Trump's White House. And so as the special counsel is getting ready to indict Trump, one of the things we have been asking about is Donald Trump's mental state. Is there enough there to charge him with crimes with a guilty mind, some sort of involvement in a seditious conspiracy? How is that going to work? But now we know they've already talked to Trump's lawyers. They've talked to Trump's team like Mike Pence and people within his executive circle. Now they've got family members as well. The New York Times reports that prosecutors are asking witnesses whether Trump acknowledged he lost the 2020 race. Did he admit to you that he knew he lost and he did this anyways? Jared Kushner was questioned before a federal grand jury, appeared to be trying to establish if the former president knew his efforts to stay in power were a lie. The New York Times got this one. Federal prosecutors have questioned multiple witnesses in recent weeks, including Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, about whether Trump had privately acknowledged in the days after 2020 that he had lost, according to 4 people briefed on the matter. Is it like a group text? The line of questioning suggests prosecutors are trying to establish whether Trump was acting with a corrupt intent as he sought to remain in power. Essentially, that his efforts were knowingly based on a lie. And that's going to be the most difficult thing to prove here. Because as we've talked a lot about, you're allowed to investigate your legal options. And in an adversarial system in this country, push those to the limit. That's what a trial is. Everybody says, you're wrong, I'm right. You're wrong, I'm right. Let's duke it out in the system. But they're going to say Trump knew that he lost and tried to exploit it nonetheless. Essentially, that his efforts were knowingly based on a lie. Evidence that could substantially bolster any case that they might decide to bring against him, which, of course, they will. Kushner testified before a grand jury at a federal courthouse in Washington last month, where it's said to have maintained that it was his impression that Trump truly believed the election was stolen, according to a person briefed with the matter. The questioning of Kushner shows that the federal investigation being led by Jack Smith continues to pierce layers of those closest to Trump. Prosecutors weigh whether to bring charges against Trump in connection with what they say are baseless assertions of problems with the election. A spokesman for Mr. Kushner and Mr. Trump did not respond to comment. But others, like White House communications directors, were there. Others are testifying. And so things are getting very, very close. Any day now, I think we'll see it because they're going to run into a timing problem again. They know that in D.C., they'll bring the case much more quickly. The judge will allow this trial maybe to happen before or during the election. This is MSNBC.
We are learning from New York Times reporters that Jared Kushner was already questioned by special counsel Jack Smith. Tim Hafey, you had a chance to talk to Jared Kushner. I remember his testimony as a tad smug, but take us through what he provided to you and what opportunities, if any, Jack Smith might have had to push further and what they would have wanted in terms of a criminal context from Jared Kushner.
Yeah, so we did spend about 8 hours with Mr. Kushner. He did submit to a voluntary interview by the Select Committee. They're really 2 separate things about which he has information, Nicole. He's part of the president's family, was involved in discussions soon after the election in which the president was told directly that he lost. He was present for this meeting where the pollster of the data guy from the campaign actually presented the numbers and went through the sort of explanation of the decreased margins in the suburban areas. And he was already starting to move to Florida. He and his wife were looking at property and schools for their kids in November. So we developed a lot of information from him about direct communications with the president about the fact of the election loss. But the other thing that's really crucial about Kushner is that he was directly involved in the campaign fundraising that then became the Stop the Steal fundraising. He was personally briefed almost daily about the cash machine, the veritable hand-over-fist money-making machine that was Stop the Steal.
So we wonder then if he might be in the orbit, if he might be in Jack Smith's crosshairs, because we know that people like Fannie, the biggest Fannie Willis out in Georgia, definitely the biggest Fannie that I know from Georgia, she is talking about RICO cases and people in Trump's team being prosecuted as well, something like 40 people. And we remember that really bizarre grand jury foreperson, that woman, I believe she identifies accordingly, that was strange and was talking like she was excited to have Trump be sworn in and all the things. And it was a weird ordeal, but Jack Smith might be doing the same thing. We know Rudy Giuliani came in to testify and Sidney Powell's in the crosshairs. And so what did Jared Kushner say? Could he be charged? He's testifying on behalf of himself, but I think he's got some solidarity with the Trump team. If they all, stay in alignment together and just adhere to the truth, they're much stronger that way. But what Jack Smith is trying to do is peel these people off and get inconsistent statements from them, so that they can either be charged or that they can be leveraged against other people in the purview.
As we've discussed, the Trump campaign pivoted to a fundraising operation focused on the fact that the false narrative of election fraud. Jared Kushner was right in the center of strategy, of mining that false narrative for repeated cash contributions of up to $250 million after the election. So to the extent Jack Smith is looking into campaign fundraising based on these false statements of election fraud, Jared Kushner would have information about that as well.
So we'll see if he gets charged or what kind of leverage they've got on him. Here's more reaction from CNN.
Knowing that Kushner's in the inner circle, does learning that he's testified give you any new clues as to where prosecutors are in this investigation?
It does, Jake. It tells me, first of all, Jack Smith is talking to absolutely everybody, no matter what level of power or no matter proximity to Donald Trump, as he should do, as a good prosecutor would do. So this is one more item you can check off the list of, as Paula said, obvious witnesses that you want to speak with. And I think the questions that reportedly are being asked of Jared Kushner are so important because they go directly to establishing Donald Trump's criminal intent. If he is saying, I recognize that I lost this election, and it's not clear that Jared Kushner is supporting that.
Right.
But there were bits of testimony in the January 6th commission to that effect. That's crucial on intent because that shows that what he was doing after that was knowingly wrong, and that's something that criminal prosecutors are going to have to establish.
Yeah, they will, and it's going to be a difficult thing to prove. I think that we have not seen evidence of that yet. And I think Trump still adheres to this statement. And I think every day that goes by, in fact, there's more evidence that the election is not what it seems. So the facts might be maturing on Donald Trump's side. The problem is that they're likely going to bring this case in D.C. And whatever the prosecutors ask for in D.C., they're very likely to get, because we've covered other cases in D.C. and we've seen how they've treated the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers and all of the other individuals who are the subjects of the political prosecutions taking place in this country, all emanating right out of D.C. So they're going to bring Trump in their own backyard, in their own arena, and it's going to be a case for the ages that we, of course, will continue to follow.